And there are people without cards. You install your group? No, you install your group.
Good morning.
Good morning, all the Jews.
Good morning.
Good morning. You look so spiffy.
How I dress the role, the part?
How you dress in your new job? Now they make you wear clothes. A real person.
Yes.
God, the suit. I mean, fancy. You have a match.
Hello.
Hello. Certain standards to maintain here.
I was quite confused. You could tell my confusion. Oh, Carlos, I saw Carlos.
He's over there. Okay. So the other two, I'm just wondering.
You're missing some speakers. I
I
know.
heard.
They found Larry delivered the message. Can I sit next to you? That's the only one you're missing.
Sure. No, Bill will probably miss.
Oh, that one I can't help.
In a bus.
I mean, at some point, I'm going to have to leave to go to the fresh. No, I already finished it. I did that for the first hour to listen to their wicked papers. And now I have to do a session for the expression online. The local Azeri human rights thingy later. I figure I'd come and see the speech.
Print out of the Yara?
Yes, more or less. Remember you had said on ICANN.
Sorry?
You had said when I ran into you at ICANN left now. And so I was going to check with you whether you joined IGF more.
Basically, because I'm on calls all the time and whatever. I'm doing ICANN meetings. As before, I was more free agent ICANN meetings. So I thought, IGF, definitely more of a free agent. Funny yesterday where I said hello to the secretary. Check it out. Don't support him. Everything, just leave him. Leave it. Don't support him. Hilarious.
Your fingers are handling it okay?
They must be okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm giving him grief at the moment.
Sorry?
I'm giving him grief over the moment over Azeri blogging at the beginning. It's David. They're not being able to get in. They're not proper press, but if they call themselves civil society, they can't blog, so we can't let them in.
Well, that's David.
Yeah, I was hassling Chengatai and then he finally explained me. So I went and talked to David and it's a real problem. Because, you know, and if they come into civil society, they're not allowed to go. So David was telling me. But that's a UN rule. And it's,
But UN rules were set up before there was such a thing.
right. So, but, you know, so basically we've got the activists here that can't get in because they're not bloggers, they're not press, and they're not civil society.
Silly. Hello.
Oh, Marcus, hello.
Good to see you.
Me
Here it left?
That's for Czerny Title. Doesn't have the power to make it.
Sorry?
That's for Czerny Title. Well,
You know, before it's also, we had Charlie, who was then able to give orders and to assume the responsibility. Well, it's, you know, he plays it by the book. And I think basically he asked Chengapay to absolve him of any responsibility if anything happens, and of course Chengapay cannot do it. You know, that's a suicidal thing to sign.
yeah, where's Jan? Oh, he's not here. Does Daniel still?
Daniel is here, but there was some sort of thing that came out behind. I don't know how the details, but I mean, you know, it was as it should have been. It worked obviously much better.
Because at this point it's going to be. Yeah, we hit it pre-pre. We keep running into roadblocks. Eventually it's going to block backwards. You know, eventually it's going to get blocked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if it gets to be a free. And I felt
Keep running into it, good, these things.
I mean, I've seen it on remote.
How are you?
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, how are you?
Everything stops every time an aeroplane takes off, is it? It's not an aeroplane.
Not when you're up. I don't know.
Thanks.
I'm after lunch.
Oh,
You're on the same time as me.
Oh, good.
So it's 2:30. I have no idea.
I find
I figured. I'm pretty good at it.
yes, thanks, Emily.
Actually, it reminds me more of Billion. Well, actually, it's a combination of open cattle pens
Well, we look, it might be on the same price.
So yeah, it's a matter of but here at least our tagging is visible. You know, we're visibly tagged. It's not hidden in the bag.
Yeah, I know. I asked him what it was for. He goes, it's for security. I'm like, oh, so you can just follow me around it. I didn't say that.
Yeah, well, I did. As he put it on, it said, "Oh, now I'm tagging. You can follow me anywhere." And I more blatant.
And you realise that there she is actually.
But she's also good.
You're green. Well, it says what you would be. Private sector is green. You're probably academia and right. Whereas this is civil society. I want one that's multicolored because I'm multi-denominational.
That's everybody.
Everybody reasonable. Right. I want multi-denominational. I want.
Hello, how are you?
I want rainbow colors. Pretty good. How are you?
Right after. Yes. Precisely, but yes, let's. I mean, I am thinking it was stupid to go back and then go back. So I'll raise it. I know it's going to be a hard thing. Oh, yes. Yes. From here. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Huh? Yeah. It's not the one with the S. Is IGF 2012 with a bang at the end, an exclamation point at the end. Really? I did get in several times.
So, Thank you for the questions. You've been at it. I sent them to Christine. You must have received them.
How are you?
We don't really need to meet. I know the people that I want to meet. So, but if you want to discuss anything about the workshop,
Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna. I mean, I missed out the one she moderated last year, so.
So you know Christine, the way she works. I told you to do total basically. Got everybody that starts to learn.
Very nice bits. It's the bits are fantastic.
I mean, that's why it's
Not yours.
It's okay. It's brutality.
I like the show.
Torture cheese and coffee.
Do you have a curtain?
No. No, it's a glass box.
Okay,
It's a glass
they don't have
coffin.
anything.
I would prefer that.
It's completely open.
Yeah, that's like the
Do you
Swedish
have
style.
have an inundation afterwards.
Well, is there a drain in the floor and all the water goes to the drain?
I don't like that.
That's what I like. I like that. I don't like being in a little
Thanks
glass.
for suggesting me for that panel. I hope I can.
David suggested you before I did.
Oh, really?
Hi, how are you? So how did you find your
Working, no, your work life. No, on Google, it's bad. You're not staying up there because the year is important by some time. So, yes, if we can, but
No power. Inshallah.
And I also think the fact that
awesome.
the first day was
I am very upset that you won't be in New York.
Yeah. I'll be in Dua. Yes, it would have been fun to read it.
The 15th, you're going to buy after here.
I'm going home for like about a week.
You're going to be there then. Next week I'm going to New York.
Next week.
Excuse me, sir.
15th of November. It's a Thursday.
I think I leave. No, wait a second. Maybe not. Maybe I'm flying. But I'm not in New York. I'm in Rhode Island.
Well, travel town then.
Why?
Huh?
What are we going to do?
Well,
You want me to help you find
amongst others. When I go off.
Why are we categorized?
No, you're right. You're right. You got flying.
Well, if you can come down.
Then we'll see.
Listen, on the 15th I'm having this thing, and then on the 16th I'm staying and I'm totally free and it's party Saturday. So if you can come down on the Friday.
Okay. I might be going down for tough game work.
Hello, how are you doing, Jeff? Thank you. Thanks.
Is she in New York?
Yeah, my sister's.
Come on, it's perfect. I will be living in is it Tribeca? Close to.
That's exactly where my sister lives.
Well, come on.
She lives on Spring Street in
I will be
Soho.
at the Hilton. I'm close to the NYU because that's where the event is taking place.
Kind of,
It's a North American language on the CCI, you know, the sixth strike that you're about to implement. It's great. So,
I'll see. Because my sister doesn't have any room for me to stay at her house.
how far is it to Rhode Island? New York, Rhode Island?
Sorry, about 3 hours.
Sorry.
Right, okay.
Liaise and email me and just,
Right.
you know, let me know. I'll be free.
I don't liaise with my sister, we chat.
No, I mean, liaise with me.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, tell me if you're available. It would be great because I don't have anything to do on Friday.
And my sister is my point of contact.
So, you know,
And I'm sure that's why you want to do.
no, I want you there to have fun. Hello.
Picking your brain. Picking your brain part. Just your eyes away. Did you have break
Then you have more than you could ever possibly want to.
Oh, lots of things.
Keeping your brain asleep.
Exactly. It just looks like I'm here.
Yes,
Let your eyes rest too.
I know this event, but
What?
Nice place to see.
Well, I got this is the schedule. There's the schedule. Oh, receptions. I don't know nothing about receptions.
oh, reception, there is one tomorrow.
There's one tonight.
There is one tomorrow.
Yours tonight.
Ours is tonight.
And then there's another one tonight too. There's also a
Yes,
I don't think
but
it's
they're very close. I can forward them.
Oh,
And I will forward it when you have it. All right, and I'll forward it to you right now. Because the invitation I received said bring whoever you want.
oh, okay.
So I'm
Well,
going.
then I'm going to be yours, so I'll just go with you.
Exactly.
I don't need an invitation.
Not.
Yeah. Henry, I already read that. The giggle that was really boring. I noticed we took it. I would have, but I was not using the phone. But at least I was awake enough to get this water. No, I mean, just those first three songs are like, hey.
And the others weren't at the home before. Yeah.
Oh, you heard it. The best one was Bill's non-talk.
Why he couldn't.
Why you couldn't? Because I don't know what I'm going to say here this afternoon.
Sen düzelt bakalım. İngiliz, Fransız. Keçen Tunuscasına.
Честно, кислороду мало.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Mustafa. Mustafa.
Dr. Gregson is already here.
I know, he's at Big on it.
It was Biggle Nut, which is deadly. Absolutely.
So when you got here, okay?
Yes.
Yes,
But you realize the bus driver, he didn't say anything. He didn't say anything to me to give it away that he's been angry at.
Did he say something to Wendy?
Oh, you did. And you were with him. So you got to see me.
I think he was perturbed.
I think a response with a specific location would have done it.
But we were watching.
We kept on getting.
Well, we were walking. And we would have run into him.
I think. What's flustering you?
Trying to figure out which. Well, yeah, it was just that one of his rings in my
Oh, that was just having trouble.
That was definitely.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we had to change.
Made a table. Did you have a nice time?
Yes.
How are you? Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see somewhere, but I actually found my stuff. Yes.
And you would have gotten to see the fireworks.
We did see the fireworks. Yes, no, I think a specific.
I don't think we knew the name.
But then we're getting to the Hilton. You said meet someplace else.
And the guy got it back.
I can see
Like someone's
but it's a standard European way of triangulating or triangulating the city. You know, and as one moves,
It would have made me annoyed had I been trying to do the coordination.
yeah, I can tell.
They don't.
Yeah, no, it's fairly normal. I guess.
but it was very nice.
Oh, you know, we're moving from here to there. You're moving from there to here. You know, somewhere in the middle, and we'll keep pinging each other until we actually.
Yeah, I get text messages.
I don't even enable them on my phone.
So I guess that's it. So for anybody that spends, that's why it's weird for Bill. For anybody that spends that much time here, it really is a normal way that people coming from opposite places. You know, you keep having, it's almost like sign off. You keep pinging, and eventually, you guys had a good time. You had a good time. And it's a nice place to party. I think that's Thursday. The APC party you didn't get at. I'll forward to you.
That's what
They're mostly
goes on here.
They're mostly on hot. Half the time I don't know. And they're just whining something.
The only thing I got was the election warrant.
Oh, I didn't get that one. Where's election watch? Really pissed
5
off.
a.m. on Tuesday.
My hotel. I know. I'm like dying down. It works for about 5 minutes and then it gets shut down. And then about a half hour later, I'm really irritated because I have a slate on. Watching from my hotel room in 5 o'clock. Although I think Al Jazeera will probably be broadcasting. Because they've had really good election coverage, I thought.
You know, there's really nothing.
Well, and then they had what? And Bloomberg
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and get started. So on behalf of the International Chamber of Commerce, before the IGF, setting to have this discussion, to bring stakeholders together, to share their views, and in a sense today to do a mapping exercise. So we decided to have this discussion in a multi-stakeholder setting, and we do recognize that there are different interpretations of the concept of enhanced cooperation, and we do hope that those will come out today in a productive and constructive effort to understand how things have evolved since the World Summit on the Information Society in Tunis, and where we can go in a story that is Tunis to Baku in terms of outlining concrete examples of enhanced cooperation. We all believe that internet governance must be based on multi-stakeholder cooperation. So with those scene-setting comments, I'd like to move to our first panel. And first off, I would like to introduce Yanis Karklins, who is Assistant Director General of Communication and Information of UNESCO. He's also the former Latvian ambassador who was the president of the PrepCom for Tunis. So Yanis, if you can give us a bit of history, that would be helpful. Thank you.
So thank you, Isha, and thank you for inviting me to speak at the opening of this debate. I thought that maybe it would be worth to speak at the end of this opening session, simply to see whether other panelists share my views, and as a former chairman, I may impose something that other panelists may not agree with me. But that is more a joke. I think when we're talking about something, we need to understand what we're talking about. And the concept of enhanced cooperation, which was developed as a result of very intensive negotiations at the end of the second phase of Tunis Summit, is the result of these diplomatic negotiations, which allowed adversaries, if I may say, in this debate to claim the victory in the negotiations. I still remember this fantastic situation that after the negotiations were concluded, the head of one important delegation came to me and said, Yanis, thank you, we got everything we wanted. And another head of delegation of adversary in these negotiations came to me and said, thank you, Chairman, we got really everything we were coming here to talk about. So, and this is the beauty of the formulations. The formulation of enhanced cooperation, paragraphs 69, 70, and 71, allowed at that time all delegations to claim the victory in the negotiations and find themselves in this debate on the internet governance and governance of critical resources of the internet. As a result, after the negotiations, we were still struggling to understand what
we can share it. It's my chair, but we can share it.
That creates a slight difficulty in the implementation. Nevertheless, I think we are very much in implementation.
Sorry.
To be honest, I think it was
Actually, not read it. Oh, actually, let's shut off the speaker.
No, I will. What he said, he declared his opinions for a text that is ambiguous. If it's ambiguous, it's good.
Shut off the speaker before that was Oh, that's right.
Doesn't matter. None of this Where's my finger? Oh, fuck. I'll go for that. Identify very clearly areas where UNESCO can contribute to internet governance as a governance organization. That is called APC, freedom of expression and freedoms of that is working to develop the concept of privacy and consult governments on this issue. That is legalism, that is so these are all areas where UNESCO is contributing by its work, by contact with other organizations, being member states, governments of member states, being second countries, being other international organizations.
Thank you very much.
Are we done?
Next I'm going to turn to Claudia Selly, who is with AT&T, and she is the affairs director. Claudia, can you give us a little business perspective?
We're going to be some things behind.
Ara. Ara. Also come.
Not even the door. They're coming. They do know that the giants are innocent and this is not a debate. This is ultimate conflict.
This is not the view of my government. We think we need a specific platform or forum to address this issue that will allow for a comprehensive treatment of matters related to internet. We understand that those institutions and forum I have expressed, they make a very important job. They are dealing with important elements of internet governance, but they do not provide for a comprehensive view. And IGF is very important, and we value the role of IGF. Brazil has hosted the second edition of IGF, and we would like also to propose to host another edition in the future. So we value IGF, but we do not think that IGF performs the role that was assigned to enhance cooperation, because IGF is not a decision-making body, is not issuing recommendations. So from the point of view of public policies, government in their roles are asked to perform. We still feel this gap. So how do we envision that we go about this? Our government, the Brazilian government, favors that a working group would be established to further develop ideas, to collect views on how to implement the concept of enhanced cooperation. We have worked very hard with other parties in the context of the last Commission on Science and Technology for Development, last May in Geneva. We were looking forward to the discussions that took place there. We understand we were very near to the point of establishing such a group. In the end, we were frustrated this could not happen. Our assessment is that there was not enough time, not enough conditions to develop further understanding and to address the terms of reference for such a group. This issue is being submitted to the General Assembly of the United Nations that will convene and discuss internet governance issues in the context of the second committee, in the context of the resolution, preparation of the resolution on ICT for development. This week, I think negotiations will start in New York. So we think the appropriate thing for the UN to do at this point would be to send it back to the Commission on Science and Technology for further examination of the issue. Last year, the UNGA asked the Commission for Science and Technology to develop one day of discussions in order to have further understanding on this concept. And the business is unfinished. The report that is being submitted back to the UNGA does not provide for those elements. So we think the logic thing to do would be to send it back, maybe already recommending the formation of such a group. We are not prejudging the outcome of the group. Yeah, I'd like to make this very clear. We, as I have said, we understand there are different views, different approaches to this. What we'd like to have is the opportunity in a very transparent, open way, collecting views from stakeholders, from all participants, to discuss in depth how we can further implement, or if the understanding will prevail that we already have in place institutions that provide for enhanced cooperation, how can we further refine this? I think this is the kind of discussion we'd like to have in the proper context. We think this event is very important to raise awareness of this. Some of the issues that are being discussed here are exactly the issues we'd like to discuss, to collect views, to have a better understanding, in the same sense that in between the two phases of the World Summit on Information Society, we had a working group working on the internet governance notion, and this was very helpful in the second phase. So this is basically what we are proposing and will be defending in the context of this week's UNGA in New York. We think the wisdom of this process that we were able to establish, IGF, represents itself the possibility to establish in the international context an institution that will address appropriately the issues of internet governance. And if I may recall, and again, maybe I'm repeating something that was already said, that in the New York discussions we have the notion that internet governance must be pursued in two tracks, IGF and enhanced cooperation. So enhanced cooperation is the leg that is missing. We would like to move forward. building on the success, having IGF as an example of some process that can emerge in the context of a UN process, which is something that I know attracts a lot of fear and reservations from many. But if we think that IGF was born from a UN process, we think it is possible to establish such a forum for enhanced cooperation as well. In IGF, of course, we must commend the important work that was done by Nissim Ditai and Marcus Kummer and the leadership they displayed. So we think we need such leadership, such in-depth work, transparent, open, and we are, from our side, we'll be glad to participate in such an effort. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Our last panelist will offer us a technical community perspective. Bill Woodcock is the Executive Director of Packet Clearinghouse. Bill?
Hi, as an engineer, I may take a slightly different tack on this. From the perspective of the technical community, I think that enhanced cooperation, as instantiated in its existing bodies and mechanisms, has been a huge success, producing beneficial outcomes for the public far in excess of what anyone could have predicted 5 years ago or 10 years ago. I'm going to draw some examples from the two areas of Internet critical infrastructure. First, from exchange points, which are where Internet bandwidth is produced, and secondly, from the domain name system, where people find their way to resources on the Internet. So, looking at exchange points, over the last 5 years, we've gone from roughly 280 Internet exchange points to roughly 350. The new ones in that period have largely been in developing countries. That means that they have been moving the means of production from centralization within the developed countries of Western Europe, North America, Northeast Asia, into the developing countries of the Caribbean, of the Middle East, of Africa, of Latin America. And that success is due to outreach. That success is not something that the technical community can achieve entirely on its own, and it's not something that government and national agencies can do anything to make happen by themselves. It only comes about because the technical community comes to meetings of the IGF and comes to the OECD and comes to many other institutions of enhanced cooperation and talks with government about where Internet bandwidth comes from, how the Internet economy is supported, what it is that makes things go, and gives government the additional understanding that they need to regulate lightly, fairly, and in the benefit of the public. Specifically, if you look at the IGF, at every single IGF meeting from Athens onward, we have had both sessions that provided introductory technical information to policymakers and also specific sessions on the economic benefits of Internet exchange points. In the wake of every single IGF, we've had additional governments and additional technical community representatives from countries that did not yet have exchange points come and say, we now understand why we need exchange points of our own. We now understand why it is that we need to produce Internet bandwidth domestically rather than importing it from the UK or from Germany or from the United States or from Japan. Looking to the OECD has done two major things and a huge number of minor ones in this area. First, they led an effort to standardize statistics collection from Internet exchange points. The technical community didn't see why this was of huge interest, right? We were all able to pull statistics from our own routers. That seemed to be good enough for us. But for each of us, those statistics constituted a trade secret. But the statistics of the exchange point as a whole, the aggregate statistics showing how much bandwidth that exchange point was producing, that information needed to be aggregated up for policymakers. The OECD understood that and led an effort to get that information standardized so that policymakers the world over would have apples-to-apples comparison between exchange points, between countries, between regions. turning to the domain name system, over the last 5 years, we've had more than 1,000% growth, more than tenfold growth in the number of name servers serving top-level domains and the root of the DNS. In addition, we've gone from having nothing DNSSEC signed to a significant portion of the top of the domain name hierarchy DNSSEC signed. So this means that we now have resilience that we did not have before, we have capacity that we did not have before, and we have trust that we did not have before. None of these things would have happened without cooperation between the technical community and government. Looking specifically at this spring, there was an attack announced against the root of the domain name system in the middle of February. In 6 weeks, the private sector spent almost $150 million preparing for dissuading, mitigating that attack. Governments the world over, once they heard that this was going to happen, assumed that nothing could be done about it. But in the technical community, we spent a good part of that 6 weeks running around and talking to people in governments, explaining to them, no, actually, there are perfectly straightforward technical means. The internet community produces revenue and spends that revenue to defend itself. You don't need to come up with money. You don't need to take action. All of this is being taken care of. Here's how, here's why. So this is an example of an industry-led effort that exceeded far beyond the expectations of government. And again, technical community and government working together have been able to achieve a growth of the internet that was not anticipated and could not have been predicted 5 years ago.
Thank you very much, Bill. Well, we are coming to the end of this first session, and I wanted to thank the panelists for providing the various perspectives, and I hope that this gives you a base for going forward with the discussions today, which we hope will illuminate the range of perspectives, the range of ideas. If there are one or two questions, we can take them, and then we'll move on to the next session. I see a hand up. If a microphone could be given to Alejandro Pisanti, please.
Can you hear me well there? Thank you. It's strange to be speaking like to the radio here. It's very much like broadcasting. My name is Alejandro Pisanti. I am from the National University of Mexico and from the chapter of the Internet Society in Mexico as well. I have a general comment about the view that has been expressed by Mr. Fillo with a very important discrepancy about this view. The internet governance up to now has been built in a problem-solving approach. You have completely different mechanisms, even with sometimes the same stakeholders, but represented by different persons or different departments of the company or the government, because of the relevance for each of the issues. So the domain name system has engendered a set of tools for internet governance. Fighting spam, with what limited success there is, has different tools. The anti-phishing working group or the mail anti-abuse working group and so forth. Intellectual property is a completely different field. And I have the general sense that the only way to continue to build internet governance towards a more comprehensive and integral approach is to let these specialized organizations do their work with the people that have the knowledge and the interest to make them work. The idea of a general comprehensive internet governance organization goes way too close to the picture of one global government, as it will have to address issues that concern the internet, and the internet is more and more penetrating every aspect of our lives, individual, civil, corporate, and governmental.
Thank you, Alejandro. I'll give an opportunity to the ambassador to respond, and if any other panelists want to make a comment, we'll wrap this up soon. Thanks.
Well, I thank you for your comments, and I don't disagree with what you said, because it gives me also the opportunity to clarify that we do not mean to substitute or to replace for the existing organizations and forum and processes that, as I have said, in our understanding perform a very important role. We don't think that such a platform, I'm not saying international organization, I also want to make this for the record, I'm not talking about establishing an international organization. I was saying of establishing a platform or a process for discussion, which is something completely different. Because as we know, it is not also settled, as Carlos Afonso was saying, how the multi-stakeholder dimension will be there. This is something we are open to discuss. What I was saying is that in addition to what we have, and this is the gap we feel that from the point of view of government is a place in which we can discuss with a in a policy-oriented way, in a comprehensive way, issues that deal with security, human rights, privacy, that there is not such an organization, I'm sorry, not an organization, but a platform or a process, a forum that allows government to discuss things in an integrated way with a focus on public policy. So we are not talking about replacing or getting rid of anything that is there, substitute, but of giving another tool. And from the perspective of governments, and my government feels there is a gap as we look into the overall international structure. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. I see two hands. We have Erica Mann from the audience, and we have Carlos Afonso on the panel, and Yanis Karklins. And then I do think I'm going to have to wrap up so the next moderator can start the next session. You can save your comments. I'm sure they'll be relevant for the sessions the rest of the day. So with that, I'll go to Carlos first, and then to Erica.
Very quickly, just to endorse the proposal made by Benedito. This working group, I think, is quite important, and I must say that the APC itself, the Association for Progressive Communications, in May also presented a similar proposal.
Thank you, Carlos. Erica?
Erica Mann, is it working? Board of ICANN. Just let me maybe make two observations. I think from the government point of view, I think you're right. Something is a vacuum, something is missing. And we all know this, and we try to fix it in different ways. I mean, we have the governance, the advisory body. Here we work and cooperate with you together. And when you look around in the internet ecosystem, there are different ways how we try to fix it. But I think it's an illusion to think if you build something new, this will fix it. So if you build a new, forum, you just create another level where you will be, disconnected from what you actually want to achieve. So I think there may be two ways of approaching it, or maybe three ways of approaching it. So first, I think what we need to do, we have to bring some kind of operational understanding between all of us, what we are doing in our different fora, so that we truly understand who is responsible for what. Somehow we do it, but it's still a fragmented understanding, between all of us. So operational understanding, a strategic and operational understanding, and then we need to see the gaps between us. So what is missing, and how we can fix it between the already existing bodies. And then I think what we want to do is to build on top of it, or on the side, we need to have a regular dialogue with governments. I fully agree with you, but I rather would prefer to have it included in this existing IGF instead of creating something new and on top of it. So the only thing you maybe would want to have to do, so that you can be present here and you have your own meetings. So the typical Chatham House style of meetings, which you need, because there's some certain issues you want to discuss, certainly more between yourself, which is understandable. But then on the same time, you don't want to miss the channels to all of us, because it's the expert knowledge which you need as well. I mean, you have expert knowledge, but there's so many expert knowledge in different fora which you don't want to lose. So I think that's probably my recommendation would be to look at it. And certainly, I mean, I can't speak for the board here, but I'm sure my colleagues will do as much as they can to support this idea. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Erika. The last comment, would you like to respond, Ambassador? And then the last comment will be from Yanis. Thank you.
Well, I thank you for this comment, and I think this is exactly the kind of thing we'd like to hear. I'm very glad that you have spoken this, and again, I cannot disagree with you. I think we have this notion we need some platform. As I have said, we are not prejudging, we do not have a complete formula for this. Maybe the right way would be to resort to the existing institutions and to refine them. This would be one opportunity. This is not the approach my government is taking for the moment, but we are open to views. And again, we do not think this would be on top of IGF. We do not see this process having an overview of IGF. On the contrary, we think both processes should go hand in hand, as was envisioned by the Tunis agenda. So I think this is exactly the kind of inputs and discussion we'd like to have in the context of this working group. And we are not prejudging the outcome, but we think we need an in-depth discussion on how to make it work better. And I think I'm very comfortable in saying this because in Brazil we really practice multi-stakeholderism. I think the government is fully committed to this. So when I'm saying this, I know I have not only the full endorsement of what we are doing at home, but also the kind of thing we want to do to have seen abroad. But again, from the point of view of government, we feel this gap and we'd like to have an opportunity to further discuss on how we should go about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. Lastly, I turn to Yanis Karklins. Thanks.
So thank you, Isha. I think this discussion is a perfect example how compromise formulation at the end of negotiations lead to rather confused implementation process as a result. But jokes aside, I think this discussion also revealed that we are much further in our understanding on notion of enhanced cooperation, where we always need to return to the source and then see. Carlos mentioned that enhanced cooperation is cooperation on equal footing, yes, among governments. And this is paragraph 69 that says that. But multi-stakeholder cooperation is in respective roles and responsibilities. So, and that is a very significant difference. Then everybody cooperates, as Erika said, its own responsibilities and roles and responsibilities. But then when it comes to governments, then on equal footing, discuss public policy issues. Public policy issues are very important, but at the same time there are no pure public policy issues. These public policy issues always are intertwined with the technical issues, and we see it in the ICANN framework. They're very much intertwined with the legal issues, intellectual property issues, and the challenge, what I understand what Ambassador from Brazil is talking about, the challenge is that the range of issues with public policy component are so diverse that indeed there is no one place to discuss them. We can attempt to create that one platform for discussing them, but there is one point of caution which I really want to put on the table, and that is to avoid uninformed debate. I think that this is very essential. If we debate, we need to bring all relevant expertise on the table and talk sense. And I think that why we succeeded in 2005, because we had a collective wisdom in 2003, do not rush in any decision on internet governance. Create working group on internet governance, which created also the knowledge base and disseminated the knowledge of internet governance as we understood at that time among all participants. And in 2005, debate was very well informed. and this is why we got to the point and to the agreements which we reached, and that is why this process succeeded in 2005. Informed debate is essential, and by creating a unique platform, we need to make sure that governments bring all necessary expertise, because people who are experts in cybersecurity may not necessarily be experts in freedom of expression. And that is why, since the issues are so divergent, so we need to make sure that we have all expertise around the table. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yanis. With that, I would like to thank all of the panelists for their contributions and the comments from the floor. And I will turn over to the next moderator, Bill Drake, for the second session. Thank you very much.